Hello, everyone. I just wanted to go through 7 steps of manifestation according to a person named Bashar. He's someone I've stumbled across on YouTube, and his teachings that I've been following make a lot of sense and have cleared a lot of things up about manifestation. And interestingly enough, a lot of it overlapped with some of the stuff I already had learned. So it wasn't too out of the realm of what I already knew, but it was rephrased in a way that I thought was very helpful for me. So I wanted to pass this along on my channel so that it may help other people too, because I know that I've always had this desire to help you guys out as best as I can. So he provides 7 steps, and I might go into the rest of this at some other time, and I might have his website up to demonstrate these things too, rather than just create them from scratch. That way you can see how to get there if you want to learn more. But it makes total sense to me. So anyway, step number 1 is vision. Visualize what you want. Now, this is something a lot of people already do when they meditate on it. They visualize the very thing they want, but they don't really understand what it is that you're supposed to exactly envision. A lot of people talk about the end point of when you have received it. See, a lot of people don't really visualize things correctly and don't really understand what needs to go with the vision. I've learned that you need to visualize things as if they've already happened, not that they're happening. You want to live in the end result when you're envisioning this. So, some people say it's helpful to visualize the moment it is done or the moment leading up to it's done. But rather, what I think what you want to do is imagine a moment well past when you have received it, and try to visualize a day in the life of the person you want to be. If you're aiming for a change in a physical change that you want, or you want money, you want a significant other, those kind of things. Imagine a day in the life with that kind of change and try to take it as far as you possibly can in the vision. And don't worry if it's not clear right away when you do it. You just do the best you can, and you'll get better at it as you go, and you can keep adding more and more details. But don't overthink it either. Just give it 10-15 minutes of time and envision it every single day, at least that long, and then just let it go throughout the rest of the day, and don't overthink it. That would be my best advice for you. Second step is desire. Be intensely excited. Be intensely excited about what you are visualizing. So this is talking about the emotion of it. If something doesn't excite you, it's going to be very difficult to put enough energy behind the manifestation you want. So you have to do your best to get excited about that vision you're having. So that's why it's got to be something you actually desire or want, and not just any old thing that you can think of. Find the most exciting thing about what your vision is and focus on that, if anything. If it's not the complete end result you want that you're excited about, but what part of this end goal you're receiving, what emotion is it going to driving you? Happiness, contentment? Try to experience the emotion of the end, because that's what you're really after, is that feeling. The thing you're envisioning that you want is actually what brings about the emotion. That's what you're actually craving. I think I've made that pretty clear, so we'll move on to step 3, belief. Believe what you desire is possible to manifest. If you do not believe what you desire is possible to manifest, you cannot manifest it. Really break down why you don't believe you can manifest it, and make a list of every single thing, every possible belief that's contrary to believing that you can actually do that. What would you have to believe in order to not be able to manifest this thing? What would you have to believe in order to manifest this thing? And just really, really do a deep dive in it. If you can't get past step 3, it's going to be impossible to move forward. So you could have all the desired vision you want up to this point, but if you don't believe it, you can't achieve it. It's that simple. So I think we're done enough on 3. Let's go to 4, which is acceptance. Accept your belief and your ability to manifest it as being true. This is the assumption that your belief is true, and it's not just something you believe, it's something you know, and you have the ability to make it so. Do not look for the outside to change in order to make you believe that this is true. That is the paradox of this. You have to accept that it's changed, even if it doesn't seem like it's changed. If you can get into that mindset, then you're good with step 4, because that's basically what it's saying. Okay, step number 5 is intent. Want and intent are different. You must have the intention to manifest your desire. So, you basically, in other words, if you wanted a new pair of shoes, you can't just say, I want a new pair of shoes. You have to take steps to show that you intend to receive them. If you try to just magically make a pair of shoes appear, for instance, meditations, or the path of least resistance is to save up the money or attempt to manifest money into your life instead, so that you could just go buy them, because manifestations go towards the path of least resistance according to your beliefs. So once, like I was saying earlier, if you really break down your beliefs about everything and you can redefine your reality so that it makes sense to you, you can stop thinking you need to manifest money to get the shoes, because you'll be less resistant. But you're going to be able to manifest things much easier that are least resistant to your beliefs. That's why, as I just said, I'm kind of rephrasing it, but if you really change your beliefs, you can really amplify your skill at intentional manifestation, because we actually manifest things automatically every day without realizing how it works. And that, I believe, is basically what this 7-step thing is really talking about, really, is showing you what's actually happening. But you may not be even realizing it, because you tend to manifest much the opposite, because you're following these steps whether you realize it or not. You're just tending toward the negative. But so let's move on to step 6, action. Act and behave like your desire has already manifested. It goes back to acceptance, right? So, but don't skip over the intention aspect and don't assume acceptance and action are the same thing. You need to take some actions too, in accordance with your acceptance of it being true. It doesn't mean you have to completely replicate every single thing about that manifestation, but you have to match the energy of it, because you cannot perceive what you're not the vibration of, right? That's something Bashar says constantly. So let's just take most of the people that are on my subliminal channel, male to female stuff. If you're not on the frequency of how a female would behave, you wouldn't be able to perceive yourself that way. You would only continue to perceive the self you've known. But again, like I said, there's a paradox here too. You're going to be tested a lot of the time with this, and you're going to be shown a reality that looks and seems much the same as the one that you've already had, and it's not going to look a lot different to you. But that's to see if you changed on the inside. This is why it's very important to act as if it's true already, because you want to pass the tests that creation's throwing at you, but you have to be okay, essentially, paradoxically, with the outer reality not changing in order to have it change. That's why acting and behaving as if it's true can be a good way to make that work for you. Because if it's already true, then it's true. Because you decide your reality. You are creating it. Step number 7 is allowance. Detach from the outcome. You have to the intents in your desire without any expectation that it manifests. And I've already talked about that a bit there. You're not looking for the specific outcome. You're not dictating how the outcome happens. That's not your job to do. You're to let creation or the universe itself bring that manifestation about the best way possible. Because you, on the physical level, are not able to imagine the best way possible. Your best way possible on the physical level is the least possible way that it can occur, period. There's this concept that Bashar talks about the higher self or the higher mind that can see the best way for this to happen, that you cannot see that, but it can. You have to let it bring it to you. But yes, detachment. This is also basically kind of rephrasing step number 6, but they build upon each other. You're assuming it's done, so why would you expect for it to manifest? Understand? Makes logical sense. Because you have to act like it already is. Okay, so that was the 7 steps. Now, I just want to take a look here, because once you understand everything that builds upon this, it makes us a lot easier to comprehend it. Let's go with, we'll do the basic principles last, and maybe that would be the best way to do it. Let's go over the excitement formula. Yeah, and then we'll go do the 5 laws of creation, and I think that will wrap it up with Bashar's basic principles. All right, so the excitement formula is the key to being your true self and living your dreams. This goes with the manifestation. So raising your frequency to a higher vibration means you're being a positive person, because negative energy lowers your vibration. So every time we're offered a negative emotion, we always have a choice to transform it. And it gets easier the more that you question why it is you believe you need to feel negative about the thing that's happening. Once you start doing that more and more, and you're questioning, why do I feel this way? Why do I think I have to feel this way? You'll start to realize that you don't, that you always have a choice, and you can choose the positive version of it. You can redirect it. You could at least neutralize it. Okay, so step number 1 of the excitement formula, though, is act on your excitement, your passion, whatever is most exciting to you in the moment. Do this every moment that you can. So that's basically just saying, whatever you feel like doing in the moment, that's the most exciting for you to do. And the most exciting doesn't mean you have to feel this, oh, I really want to do that, really want to do that. I mean, that would be helpful, but it's the most exciting thing for you to do. Even if you're not that excited about doing it, it's the thing that's most exciting in that moment. So follow that, okay? That's step number 1. Step number 2 is to do that in that moment to the best of your ability. Take it as far as you can until you cannot take it any further. So explore that as far as you possibly can. And when you feel like you can't go any further with that, just let that go and move on to the next thing that excites you. This way you're not overthinking it. You're not going to say, did I do enough on that? You did enough for now on that. Maybe you'll come back to it later, but now there's another thing to look at. So it's basically saying you don't have to stay focused on one thing for too long. In fact, that can be a bad thing. I think we're meant to kind of float about and follow our passions wherever they lead, and not think we have to follow a single breadcrumb all over the place. There's going to be multiple ones. And as long as you're excited about everything you're doing, you're raising your vibrational frequency too. That's what this is basically talking about overall. Step number 3, act on your excitement/passion with absolutely no insistence, assumption, or expectation of what the outcome should be. So this is basically letting your higher self or your higher mind figure this out for you. Not just with manifestation, but everything you're doing each moment. Don't have this idea of what you expect the outcome to be. Don't insist it must be this way, it must be that way. Let's say, for instance, you're writing a story, okay? You start typing away at the keyboard, you're excited about it, and then you stop being excited about it. You either save it for later, or you just hit the delete, or you close it without saving. That was the outcome you needed in that moment. You know, it's that simple. You didn't waste your time. You did what you had to do. You followed that excitement. And it might come back later that that idea to write this story might spark you to do something better later, right? It's about assuming that it's got a positive outcome for you no matter what. That it's going to be useful for you, at least if you want to phrase it differently. You always have the choice to assign meaning to it. And you can always choose the positive if you prefer. You can choose the negative too. That's not something I'd recommend though, because it hampers your positive manifestations. You cannot achieve a positive manifestation if you're at a lower frequency. You cannot perceive what you're not the frequency of. Step number 4 is choose to remain in a positive state regardless of what happens. Okay, so I've already touched on that. That's basically what I keep saying. Stay in a positive state regardless of what happens with whatever you're doing. Find a way to make it positive. You could at least try to neutralize it so it means neither, but making the positive choice is the best thing, because otherwise you may not move beyond step 4, or step 3 rather. Step 5 is Constantly investigate your belief systems, release and replace the unpreferred beliefs, fear-based beliefs, and the beliefs not in alignment with who you prefer to be. Yeah, so basically deconstruct yourself. Like all throughout your life, you've been taught so many things. You have beliefs that you've picked up on from other people. If these things feel out of alignment with what you believe and they're hampering your ability, you can let them go, and you should let them go. You should redefine your reality so that your dreams can come true and things work for you, because you are the master of your reality, no one else. No one can affect you unless you choose to let them. A lot of people get so caught up in emotions. This person did this to me. This person did that to me. Oh, they made me feel like this. No, you made yourself feel that way. Because again, remember, you can choose your emotions and how you respond to things. That's the secret a lot of people don't want you to know. They want you to think that you're out of control. You're not. You always can make a choice. And now we'll move on to the 5 laws of creation. Okay, 5 laws of creation. Law 1, you exist. That's apparent. You wouldn't be here if you didn't. Law 2, everything is here and now. So, future and the past are just different points of view of the now. Parallel realities, essentially. And Bashar delves into this a lot deeper and talks about that a lot. That's basically what's going on. There's a deeper understanding than maybe I'm even going to get into in this, but he gives some talks that kind of make this more clear. Law 3 is the one is the all, and the all are the one. So what that's talking about is, the concept of God or creation is everything and everyone, and everything and everyone are God or creation. And this is something I've said before. This is what I was talking about. I've run across this information before from other people, and it all connects and makes sense with what Bashar's teaching. It might be a hard sell, especially if you're growing up religious and you tend to look at God as being apart from the human race. That's why, again, we talk about redefining things. There's a way to make Law 3 work in Christian religion. You just need to define it in a way that works for you. But do so in accordance with what it says here. Find a way to make it work if you're having problem with Law 3. But it's much easier just to accept what it says. Because why couldn't God be everyone in some way, shape, or form, but also be all that is? Because it's logical. How could God be everywhere and see everything if God wasn't everywhere and everything and everyone and all sorts of things, right? Just saying, find a way to make that work. Law 4, what you put out is what you get back. This isn't talking about, you're mean to somebody, so they're mean back to you necessarily, but kind of. It's the energy you're putting out. If you put out positive energy, you'll get positive energy back. But what can tend to happen is something might be delivered to you as a test that might seem traditionally negative to you. And again, you're going to be testing yourself, or the universe is going to be testing you to see how you react to that situation and whether you choose to continue to receive what seems to be negative energy, or if you're going to be positive and choose positive. And the more that you choose positive, the more you're going to be seeing positive. There's a lag, for lack of a better term, an echo of things before, and the more you've been existing in negative energy, the more you're going to be tested to get out of it. So you might see that echo last and persist longer, but the more you turn everything positive, the more you're going to see things positive, and you're actually taking yourself out of the negative by force, if you will. You're going to transform no matter what it is into a positive. Find the positive, the silver lining in every dark cloud. Law 5. Everything changes except the first 4 laws. So basically, everything can change and transform except the first 4 laws are always true. So that means there's no real limits. Your concept of what is and what isn't possible, if it's relevant for you to have an experience that seems sort of impossible to you, it truly isn't. You can change any way you want to, basically. But you have to really break yourself down and find out what could be getting in your way. What beliefs you're holding on to, what emotions that you could transform into positive emotions, and really work on yourself, because this is work. It's not just lay back and listen to a subliminal and everything is just going to change for you. You still have to make some effort, put some intention to what you're doing. Okay, so that's that. Okay, so basic principles. Explain how to navigate our human experience by letting go of fear, embracing our true selves, following our passions, and recognizing the interconnectedness of all things so that we can create a fulfilling and purposeful life. All right, so you are a non-physical consciousness that is experiencing physical reality. If you are religious, you already have this idea of a spirit or a soul. That's basically what it's telling you. You don't have a spirit or a soul. You are a spirit or a soul. Your body is only a part of that. It's the other way around. Your body doesn't contain that. It contains your body. It's backwards. I think I've explained that one enough. Moving on to the next part. You are here on Earth at this time because you chose to be. You were created in the image of the Creator. That's something the Bible says too. Your essential essence is unconditional love, and the experience of ecstasy is your birthright. So basically, we're here by choice. We all chose to live a physical life and to love ourselves unconditionally, and then by extension others unconditionally, but it starts with the self. Because even though there are other people, your particular reality is created by you. You have only control over your own reality. Everyone else around you is a real person, but you're seeing your own version of them. So you can only control yourself. So love thyself first and get everything right with you, and then your outer world will reflect that. That doesn't mean don't love others. Don't misunderstand what I'm saying, but get yourself right first. First, love thyself, and then extend unconditional love to others. And the part about ecstasy is your birthright. Being happy, joyous, that is your right to experience that. And only by following the formulas and doing everything that we've gone over already, you can experience that. But you can also have the free will choice to do the other thing, which a lot of us do without even realizing it. Next thing is the highest purpose of your life is to be yourself to the best of your ability and live each moment as fully as possible. So everyone's looking for a point in life and a purpose in life. There you go. Be yourself. Be yourself. The unique perspective of the one that you are, to foot back out into the all, because the one is the all. You are unique for a reason, because every perspective is unique. It's for the betterment of the all that is the one. I know it seems rather paradoxical, but that's the point. So live each moment as fully as possible and be yourself, the best version of yourself. You know what your self is. When you're out of alignment with your true self, you will be in depressive states, for instance. There's a lot of nuance here. There's people that might be inherently negative people because that's their purpose in this life, and they're not in alignment with positivity, but we always have a choice. Even if you're inherently one way or the other, you can choose to be the other if you find you don't prefer it anymore. And you can change and transform. That's the important thing. All right, so the next thing is you always have free will and the freedom to choose. And I've already touched on that. So yeah, I mean, emotions are free will choice. And we always have the freedom of any choice. We're not out of control. We're not being puppeted. We have free will. We can choose to exercise our free will how we choose. We can choose to be negative or positive. We can turn left or right. It's always our choice. Next thing is anything you can imagine that is relevant for your life's theme is possible for you to experience. And what that's basically talking about is this. So before you incarnated physically, you as a soul laid a blueprint out for your life's theme. And it's basically what you're choosing to explore in that life. And anything you desire, basically, is part of that theme, for the most part. If you cannot absolutely get something that you want, it's very unlikely that it's not part of your blueprint. You just have to get yourself on the frequency of it in order to receive it. Let's move on to the next one, though. You attract your life's experiences through the interaction of your strongest beliefs, emotions, and actions. So yeah, this has already been discussed in a couple different ways, and so I think you pretty much should understand that by now, but I will just briefly say, whenever something happens to you in life, You have to stop thinking of it as happening to you and that you are happening to it. If you start thinking of things that way, you know that you have control. Let's say you hit a deer in your car. That's not something that happened to you. You happened to that moment. How do you react to hitting the deer? Are you going to get all stressed and worried about how am I going to fix this car? And all this stuff? If instead of all that worry, doubt, negative belief, if you were to say, I don't understand how this is beneficial for me, but it is because I happened to this moment and it's gonna work out for the best. This is a positive experience if I choose to let it be a positive experience. If I don't worry about the details, everything's gonna be okay. That's as little as it takes sometimes. And I know it's difficult, but it's only because you choose to make it difficult. Believe me, I've been practicing this a lot lately and I've gotten a lot better at it. And I've realized that this is all true. You literally can choose to feel a different way. You just have to take that step and do it. And whatever you believe informs your emotions and your actions. That's why you break down your emotions and your beliefs, and you take appropriate actions after you've restructured yourself so that you have belief systems in place with the person that you want to be, rather than the person that you believe you have to be. Because you can always choose how you are. You are the creator that created yourself to explore things a certain way. If you're not being true to that, you're not being true to yourself or that blueprint. So that's basically what it's talking about. Excitement is your physical translation of the vibrational resonance that is your true core natural being. Follow your excitement. So whenever you're excited about something, then that's how you know you're being true to yourself. Like I mentioned that story thing earlier, you feel excited that you want to write a story. That doesn't mean that you're necessarily a writer or a good writer, but maybe by doing that writing, you get inspired to do something else later, or you tell someone about that story and it inspires them to write that story, but even better than you ever could imagine it. Sometimes when you give information off to someone by being your true self, it inspires them to be their best version of themselves too. Just follow the excitement. They may take that information and run with it. They might give it to someone else that does that. You don't know, and you can't possibly know everything that would happen from that. But if you assume that it's positive, it will be positive because you create your reality. Next thing is you are naturally abundant and your choices are always supported by creation. So this is saying that abundance comes in all forms. So you might not be rich with money right now, but you're abundant in other ways. You could be abundant in the lack of money. That's the experience that you chose for yourself. Because you chose to define money as the only way that you can have abundance. So if you don't have a lot of money, what you're manifesting is a lack of other types of abundance. So again, you break down the definition of abundance and you find other ways in which you can and already are abundant, and then you will attract all forms of abundance to you instead of blocking it all out by saying that you're lacking money and that's the way you chose to define abundance. And your choices are always supported by creation, meaning no matter if you make a positive or a negative, creation supports that. It's unconditional love by creation itself. That's why we talked about earlier, the natural resonance of yourself is unconditional love, because you yourself are creation, a facet of it more specifically. And so everyone's going to be naturally unconditionally loving. Therefore, all of creation is. Unconditional love means love without condition. So even if you choose to be a negative person and believe you're not worthy of anything, creation's gonna love you and support you in that decision. That's what it means. It's not judging you, what you do. But wouldn't you rather be a positive person? Wouldn't you rather be happy? If that's what you prefer, then stop making choices that reflect negative energy. Because you're not vibrating your frequency in your natural, correct way if that's what you prefer. If you're choosing the negative, that's against your core being. And if you're not loving yourself unconditionally, you're not in resonance with the universe. But the universe will support you in that anyway, because it's unconditional. Next thing is there's actually only one moment in creation. Everything you experience is the same moment from a different point of view. We talked about that already. Future, past, and present are all the present, just from a different point of view. That childhood you remember? Well, that was a different person. That wasn't you. You have a sense of continuity that makes it seem like it was you. But that was a different person entirely. Billions of times per second, you are a new person. You're in a new reality. It just doesn't seem like it. You create the past and future from the here and now. Every choice you make, in other words, right here, and right now creates a brand new past for you and a new future for you. So you're literally a different person from every decision you make and every moment you make it. And you shift automatically, like I said, billions of times each second. That's why manifestation, the power of belief, the law of assumption, that's why these things all work if done correctly and applied intentionally, because that's what's happening. Anyway, so the next thing is you are an eternal being, and while you may change your form, your consciousness cannot cease to exist. So this is good news. If you're worried about ceasing to exist after death, you won't. Your consciousness always continues, no matter which form it takes. Now, you may have heard of people that have shifted realities, have been conscious of it, where certain things were different when they shifted to that new reality. That's kind of what they call like a walk-in to a different reality, in a sense. But that's what we're automatically doing anyway. It's just that most of the time we don't notice because we don't have anything that's big enough to notice a difference. Because we create an illusion so substantial that we only notice when something major is different. But the minor things that have changed, we won't notice them. We start to notice things more abundantly when we change the most internally. That is to say, our emotional states and our reactions to choices, whether plus or minus, will change us the most into whatever reality we're resonating with. If we make a lot of negative choices, we'll lower our vibration into a negative reality, and more negative things will occur to us. And we'll be depressed, and we'll be sad and upset all the time. And we'll go deeper and deeper into a reality that's reflective of that, and the people around us will be unwelcome to us, etc., etc. It just spirals down. But if we choose the positive, the opposite thing occurs. Next thing, everything you experience is another aspect of yourself. And this is basically saying everyone on the outside of you, because there really is no outside of you, it's an illusion. Everyone there you see exists. This is not a contradiction, by the way. But you're manifesting that particular energy pattern, that particular person, how you are deciding to see them. Because it's a mirror of yourself. Your actions, your internal self, the vibrational frequency you're at will put out into the illusionary holographic world you're living in. So you'll just see more and more aspects of yourself out there. And they'll behave in a mirror to how you are. That's basically what it's saying. That person exists, they're another aspect of creation, but you didn't create their perspective of themselves. You're only seeing them how you choose to see them. Again, it's choice, right? Think of it like this. This might make it easy for you. If everyone's God, how could they coexist in a reality? If they all have the power to do this, they would have to have control over their own particular aspect of the collective reality, their own personal holographic projection of it. That's the only way God could create this illusion. Because God is lonely, but he is all that is at the same time. It's the paradox. He's created an illusion to not seem so lonely. And there are other things that verify this is kind of what's going on too. The Gateway Experience was another thing that talked about that. A CIA declassified document, I believe it was, that I put out a subliminal one. Last thing is you are loved so unconditionally by creation that you can even choose to believe that you're not loved. And we covered that already. But yeah, that's all free will choice. You can choose to think you're not loved. You can choose to believe that. If you so choose, creation loves you so much that you can do that. Anyway, I think that is the extent of all of Bashar's basic principles. I do not believe there's any other guide on his site that we can delve into any further. A lot of the other material is going to be, I think, behind a paywall. Anyway, that is all I've got. So I hope you found the video useful. And if you want to learn more about Bashar and who Bashar is purported to be, you can go on the website and read about it. But regardless of whether you believe that particular part of it, I assure you the things that he is taught work. So don't throw the baby out with the bathwater if you can't believe in what Bashar claims to be. Because a lot of these things aren't just out there with Bashar either. They're in other locations as well, but the way this is put together makes the most sense for me. It may not make the most sense for you, so in which case, take the information and do with it as you please, and go search for your own answers, which is what I recommend to do anyway. Alright, so I will see you all in the next video. Thanks for watching.